Okay, good evening. Good evening, guys. Welcome to our fifth online session this evening, and I welcome you all, everyone, uh, to our session. And I hope that you have eaten your dinner already. If not, after this, you can take your dinner after that. So this evening, what we're going to be talking about is about our operating systems processes, and we will know some things about this, and probably the things that we'll be discussing are as follows. We have the lecture, then after that the Q&A, and after the Q&A is some other matters that we're going to discuss about, especially their coming midterms. So that will be 2 sessions from now. So meaning to say, after chapter 9, that will be our midterm examination. No? So we'll be discussing that later on so that you can prepare yourselves for the upcoming activities. I hope that my audio is clear to everyone so that you can hear what I'm going to say. So I'm shifting my with the one of the earphones connected to my computer so that we have a crisp sound rather than the earphone last time. I think it's, I don't know. Although the weather is not good right now, and we already have 16 people right here in our class. So I think it's all good, and we need to start right now. Okay. So as presented here, we have your operating systems processes. So our objectives will be discussing operating systems processes. So you're going to value the importance of operating systems processes and understand the processes of an operating system. So when we speak about a process is a terminology wherein it is basically a program in execution, and the execution of a process must progress in a sequential fashion. So a process is defined as an entity which represents the basic unit of work to be implemented in the system, as you can see in the diagram. So we'll be discussing about this later on. Now, to put into simpler terms, we're going to have computer programs in a text file when we execute the program, and it becomes a process which performs all the tasks mentioned in the program. So basically, when we have the program, then after what happens next is the execution of the program. So the process comes in or comes after the code is being compiled in your compiler. Now, when a program is loaded into the memory and it becomes a process, it can be divided into 4 sections. No, as you can see in the diagram, we have the stack, the heap, the text, and the data. So these are the following. The following are the image which simplified the layout of the process inside the main memory. So we're going to discuss about this step by step or one by one, so that you will be know about these things. Okay, so we'll go to the components and the descriptions of a process. So the first description is the stack. So sa programming na to ng stack will be, as I've said last time, the example is when you are going to stack plates in your dishes. So the first plate that is being put into the dish pane, it will be the last that you're going to pull out. So the process stack contains the memory data, such as method or function parameters, a return address, and a local variable. So take note of this. The components of your stack are has a temporary data. So take note about temporary data. This could be a method or a function parameter. It could be a return address. or a local variable. So take note that the temporary data is similar to your buffering. No? These are similar to your buffer. So wherein the buffer is a temporary file that is being put into your memory, so that the recall of the function or an application is basically make it faster to load on using that kind of memory function. So that is the first one, which is called the stack. So the second is the heap. The heap is a dynamically allocated memory to a process during its runtime. So the heap could be placed on your registry. Wherein sa registry, when you speak about dynamically allocated memory, this refers to your registry addresses, wherein the runtime of your program is being subscript. Just like, for example, you don't need to recall anything about the program, but what you'll have to do is to retain the functions. So to retain the function, the registry would simply put into a certain kind of recall. Ang recall bala. Okay. So just like for example, this is not comparable to a human ano ha. Pero similar sanda no. Just like example, when you are nalipatan ng isa ka butang, isa ka bagay, when you didn't remember anything. Subsequently, when you find about a certain thing, you just don't need to remember, no? Pero if you don't look for a certain thing, na makita nyo lang, you'll be reminded of a thing that you need to not to remember insa nga nadumduman mo. So that, for example, ano lang, pagkakalyabi mo, din butang sa bulsa or ano. Pero actually, dyan mo lang sa bag mo gali. So that is an example of a dynamically allocated. Kaysa, whereas sa computer ninyo, that only reminds about your registry address wherein it is being stored there. But if you don't use it, so it's still there, but it doesn't recall anything. However, when you go to a certain address in a specific process, then it will be recalled and it will be executed. So that is a dynamically allocated memory. Ang buot ng balon ka, dynamically allocated memory. So the third one is the text. So this includes the current activity represented by value of a program counter and the content of the processor's registers. So when you speak about the content, so it is not indirectly related to heap. Take note, although you are going to store it on the registry addressing, however, when you speak about text, these are has a program counter. Meaning to say, gin-sort out mo siya. Para yung man kalibro ninyo, may mga pages kamo dayan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Page 1, page 2, page 3. Wherein sa isa ka page nga da, you will have a specific content. So, so that is being parsed in your text. So that explains your text as a component of a process. And then the last one is the data. So this is the highlight of a description or a process, because any processing, any process that you can think of on your operating system, basically that is being guarded, subsequently absorbed and stored and retrieved. So amo da permi ang amo daya kon sa pelikula paya bida sa tanan haiti ang data. This is very essential in your processing or in your process. Without data, there's no process. So why do you need to process? Because of data. So why do you need to program? So that you can answer the problem, wherein that kind of problem requires data. So that, I think that is the best description of your data. No? So for definition, this section contains the global and static variables. Not only the static and the global variables. When you speak about global, that is on the declaration sa baba ko program ninyo. When you speak about static variable, that is the program that is being declared sa body naman. Okay. So as I've said, hindi lamang ang variables ang ginabasihan natin, pero ang kabilugan mismo ko program natin. So that requires data. Okay, and then this is an example of a program. As you can see here, this is a sample of your C++ program. So you can declare includes stdio.h enclosed in a greater than or equal to greater than or less than value sa isa. That is color green. Stdio is a library, no? So include means you are going to include that on your program. It's only a recall. So that is an example of your data, no? That is being parsed in your library. So the variable that you can see here will be integer main. So in declare mo ang main integer, that means to say that any value that will come out will have a recall for integer value, and then the output is being put into printf, and you have a return value which is 0. So that's an example of your program. This is only an example. Okay, so we have the process life cycle wherein we have 5 processes, and that will be your assignment on your activity later on. So when we speak about process life cycle, this process is when executed, it passes through different states, no? So we have 5 states. These are the stages that it may differ in different operating system, and the names of these states are not also standardized. However, these are the main components. So in general, a process can have one of the following 5 states at a time. So first is start. So start is the initial state when a process is first created, no? So start. And the second one is the ready. So ready is the process wherein it is waiting to be assigned to a processor. So these are allocated to them by the operating system so that they can run. So this process may come into the state after, while running, or interrupted by a scheduler or assigned to a CPU or to some other process. No? So the central processing unit is involved, wherein it is initiated by an interrupt or a scheduler. So an interrupt is an output given by any conditions of your input statements, or probably a file or an executable format. When I speak about executable format, that is an example is Control F9. When you press Control on the keyboard and then you press F9 simultaneously, surely your program will stop. Because that is the command for stopping a program, Control F9. So this is an example. Now, another number 3 is running. No, so once the process has been assigned to a processor by the operating system scheduler, so the process state is set to running, and the processor executes its instruction. So just like that is running is characteristically put into place of a program wherein it is set to run on a given time. So an example of this is not this is outside of your operating system, pero this is an example also. Just like our session right now, it is being timed at 7:30, no? So what is the trigger for this is the time allocation, meaning to say, starting 7:30, the lecture will start. So then automatically, like for example, if you have an online exam on the internet, so when I give you the midterm exam, it's supposed to start on a given time, and the time duration is being given, like for example, 2 hours. Then after 2 hours, you cannot access the exam anymore. But what you're going to do is to um, click the submit button so that you will not, if you are going to consume the time until the end, you will have a close to that link for the exam, and you cannot pass your exam anymore. So that means you have to take your exam once again. But in our case here sa programming, running is being bypassed the operating system because we had the time. As you can see on your desktop, on your taskbar, you can have the time and date function at the bottom right side. So what does it indicate? It indicates the real-time processing of your operating system. It is synchronized to a global time depending on our time zone, no? So sa time zone natin diya sa Philippines is synchronized with Singapore and Malaysia. So kung ano oras natin sa Philippines, amo man to oras sa Singapore at sa Malaysia. Sa una sa Hong Kong time kita, pero tulad mas accurate ang Singapore ang ano. So that means to say that the time that is being run right now on your operating system is the one it's being recorded on your operating system. No? So that requires the specific time that is being assigned or executed on as instruction in your computer when running compiling a certain program. So like number 4 is waiting. It is a process which moves into waiting state if it needs to wait for a resource. So an example of this is a user input or waiting to a file to become available. So like for example, when compiling a certain program, it is not required to interrupt. No? So like for example, control F9, mag F5 mag-run ka program. It is not advisable na sagad nyo siya kapindot-pindot or sagad nyo ka stop or ka-pause. Kaya ang pag-run na kada, it's evaluating the program from top to bottom. So if there will be interrupt or interruption, it might be that some compiler will go back to the first step instead of going to the next step. So sometimes the program will take a time na buhay bla. That's why you have to consider the waiting state of process lifecycle. So you respect the time that is given to compile. If not, you will not rewarded with the right reading for compiling. So paano mo malantaw kung may sala ka mo or why? Kaya sagad mo siya ka-stop na. So kung ano pa ba ilang, then you have to wait. Amo na ganing hambal nga waiting time. Pareho man na pagpangalila ka mo boys, hindi ka mo sagad ka kulit ka girl sulaton mga sabton na ikaw antes ka sagad something like that. So, joke lang.
Aragoy sir, gogot sir.
Batian yung isang agoy gid may na igo.
Sir,
Why man? Oo. Sige, chika lang na. Sige. Continue. Number 5 is terminated or exit. So once the process is finished in execution or it is terminated by the operating system, so it is moved to determine to the terminated state, no, where it waits to be removed from the main memory. Okay, the best example that I can give you for number 5 for terminated or exit is that mega brownout ka nato de kaninyo na like for example if you're working on your computer not on your laptop and desktop computer. Kaya when we speak about laptop, may battery tanan mo. So pwede mo siya ma-shutdown. Whereas sa ninyo, luwas ka kung abe white UPS. So pag mapatay ang if the computer will be shut off because of the blackout or the brownout, your buffering in the memory is not working already. So that means sipot dato doon guys, madura doon dato. The safeguard to this for terminated or exit is that new applications or apps has given a safeguard wherein ma-recall nanda ang last nga gin-save na file. Pero actually, the thing is, kanauna, kung mapatay ang computer nyo gid nga wala ma-save, zero gid na guys, you have to go back to the first step. Ma-erase na to ang tanan nga data nga ma-terminate bala or ma-exit. So that is a very good example of that. Okay. So let's go on to the next. Is your activity number 9. It's called diagramming 109. In your diagramming 109, this refers to the process of life cycle steps. So what you're going to do is to make a diagram pertaining to the basic concept of these processes. So you go to process life cycle, okay? And then what you're going to do, determine nyo ang start, ready, running, waiting, or terminated or exit. So mo siya ka-diagram. So ano ba yung ginatawag na diagram. So you have like for example, circle or an arrow. Depending sa first step kung diin ninyo ginbutan. You can actually research that on the internet so that you'll not be lost. So simple diagram only will do. So one page na siya. May Microsoft Word man ka mo. Supposedly, I'll require you to have to write it on Microsoft Visio. Pero I have a file in Microsoft Visio. If you want to copy, you can just copy. I will post it. I don't know if I can post it sa Google Classroom. Hindi siguro. Pwede ito ka mo makapihan kada kung makadto ka mo liwat sa school. Pero kung waay naman, you just make it in your Microsoft Word. Pwede man. You can insert diagram. You can insert any diagram. So, basta again, ano na lang siya. Hindi nyo guys pag kung may makita man ka mo sa net, sa research ninyo, hindi nyo pag copy-paste lang. Okay, that will be, what you're going to do is to make lang it using the shapes na makita ninyo sa insert button, insert part sa Word. Okay. So next topic will be process control block or PCB. This has 10 functionalities. No? Number 1 is process state. Number 2 is process privileges. Number 3 is process ID. Then pointer, program counter, CPU register, CPU scheduling information, memory management information, accounting information, and input-output status information. We will go to this, but not one by one. Kay tamag siya lawig. Papyaw lang siguro ng topic guys. So, as you can see here, process control block. In general, this is the process that your operating system will undergo if ever there will be a control a blockage on a certain process or a certain method. So take note that not all of these processes are being used by your operating system. And hindi man dyan sanda tanan pasunod. So it might be that may pasunod siya pero may ibang stages na ginalakawa niya na hindi naman kinanglan. So it might be that your operating system will use 5 of this or 7 of this or maybe tanan man. Pero this has each and every one of them of the 10 processes has a unique component for your operating system to function. Just like for example sa program counter ninyo, this is found also in your kainabalasan na stages, atong 5 ka stages sa life cycle ninyo. So para nga hindi saramo yung functionality sa operating system, there's a certain protocol that needs to be observed. So what you're going to think about is like comparatively, you can compare this to the traffic light wherein ang ang operating system ninyo ga-serve as a traffic light. So butang siya go kung may certain processes balayadang go sa traffic light ang green, no? So makita nyo green na signal means sa nga mapanaw. So amo kadaya an example of your operating system, no? Gataw siya signals kung go or kung ma-stop or ma-pause anay niya. Kaya depende da kung like for example ma-print ikaw tapos nag-automatic ang music. So ano nga mga function ang mga control blocks ang pag-agi kay inyong operating system? It might be in the process state. It might be on the program counter. It might be sa CPU registers niya. Kay ma-print mo. It might be scheduling information sa CPU kung sino kasunod. It might be memory management information or kung why ka man lang nag-add, nag-subtract, hindi mo kinanglan ang accounting information. Or kinanglan mo input output status information ka printer mo. So those are the things that you need to consider. So all of this process control has a unique effect on your operating system. So, muda. Kaya if I'm going to discuss 10 of them, medyo malawig, you just refer the definition to your module. Dahil naman to guys, naka-explain ang isa-isa ka process control. On your activity number 10, so this is also diagramming, but this is different from your process control flow, process flow diagram, process flow. So what you're going to do here sa activity 10 na is the process control block. Atong pulo nga to guys, pasunodon nyo siya. Pasunodon. So an example of this is found also the clue ha. Ito mo ka clue. The clue is makita ninyo siya sa inyong module. So naka-block na siya. If you're going to check this, you may refer to the internet also. But do not, as I've said, do not copy what is copy-paste lang sa internet. Please make it sa diagram sa Microsoft Word ninyo, isa-isa ko nagdid sa. So you can, I'm not going to be strict about the design of how are you going to make this. It's up to you guys. You have the freedom to do so. So any questions will be much appreciated after this presentation, or you can ask me questions in our GC. Okay, so this ends my presentation for this evening. Ad Astra Sapientiam, and thank you so much. Okay, so that's all my presentation for this evening, guys. Ano lang, news update. There are already 19 people joining us this evening. So good evening kaninyo tanan. So I will entertain now your questions if you have questions for this evening. Okay, please ask questions, guys. Klaro man yung lecture, guys. Chindihan nyo man. Nagaburot-burot pa yung sound ko. Why doon?
Why do master?
Oo, base ito yan dito sa sa earphone siguro. Amo ganin islan ko yung earphone. Para nga medyo klaro gawa. Or mayad lang siguro ya natutulad kay why duman ka oran. Kaya siguro mayad ya signal nga nagasulod pa. Okay kita to karon gabi. Kay Milabi, sir, insa hang up. Daw ay man be nagahang base sa cellphone mo lang, i-check mo lang yun, ha? Diyan pa si Milabi. Bibi, diyan ka pa, bi. Base nagahang up. Isa phone mo siguro tanal, bi, why guro di sa kanamon, ha? Do okay man di kanamon. So, check nyo lang yung phone nyo, or base, or ang sa signal nyo, bala. Okay, going back to our discussion for this evening, guys. Operating system processes is basically interrelated to our previous topics, no? Pero isa gidaya ka units na discussion, meaning to say puro operating system processes. Kung ma-notice ninyo sa aton nga module, unit 2 do kita. So unit 2 na kita, meaning to say do karon nga discussion kag sa tatlo pa ka masunod nga module nga maano ninyo. So nagsala gali ako no, abi ko isa do lang ka week sa ganito sa piyak pa to gali advance late gali taton it duha ka weeks. So may tatlo pa aton ka weeks para maka midterm kita. So inaano ko lang kamo guys, gina-remind ta lang kamo no. So exam naton is puro man multiple choice, so that's no need to panic about this. So multiple choice man. Ang ninyo, I will get 10 questions each chapter so that i-compile ko lang siya kag amo day bilog nato ng examination. I will give you 2 hours to answer it. 2 hours is long na gani. I will just give time limit for this. Asunday Rachel gali na kaagi do kadaya nga exam sa internet. So I think you ask them. 5 sanda ka bilog pati si John Paul. I don't know kung ano lang to yan na pero today 90 items will ginamatamat do exam niyo guys. paobra. So mo da. We just prepare lang gid. And I think we can do this without supervision. So sa aga lang ko siguro mataon no para maka-access ng tanan. The only thing is not all of you can avail the exam for online. I will just have two lang siguro. 2 sessions about this. We'll just see na lang kung ano matabo. And I'm also availing the module for everyone. Hindi ka attend sa class na to. So ginasort out ko pa ang details pa. Ginauna ko lang ya second year. So ang problem with our lang is na-late kita kay I have waited for the lecture ngalin sa main campus mo. So gina-repackage ko pa diya kag binataw kaninyo. That's why nga medyo late kita. Pero ang sa second year lain man tong case discuss mo lang namo do kananda imaduguro. So, do you have any questions about our topic for this evening, guys? So, processes. Madali man lang yung activity ninyo tulad that's why ngayon bukangan ko lang ka time frame from Lunes until Friday. Kay mahapos man lang siya, guys. Diagram man lang ikinanglan nyo. Actually, you can research that in the internet. Pero the thing is, please don't copy-paste Don't copy-paste. What you're going to do is to create it sa Microsoft Word. Yes, James? Hello, James. Do you have something? Do you have questions? Okay, guys. Is it clear? The instruction is clear for you for the activity? Dali mo lang siya. You can actually Google it. The diagram. Hindi siya budlay. Ano nyo lang ang sunod. Mind you, there are versions of this. Yes? Yes? There are versions of the activity. Pero, basta ako nyo anagid, ang pinakasimple nga, nga variation ka activity ang himuon ninyo, ha? Kaya may dyan akong nakita nga do versions ka processes kadang life cycle nga dang lain ta na. May dyan man nga ang hint kay ikaduwa sa chapter 10, ang activity 10 is makita niya sa life cycle man. Ayan. So, pulo sa hindi sa pasunod. Ang medyo pasunod ang activity 9. Ang activity 10 hindi, guys, medyo may lakang bala. Or hindi siya pasunod pero lantawalan nyo, i-check nyo lang kay amuday ko amuday pinakapos ninyo activity for the duration sa term ninyo. Kay ma-diagram lang ang so amuda. Okay, any updates regarding sa previous activity last week? Do you have any comments? Since of you can put your questions in our guys, in our text box or chat box. Okay. Mudahan dumaman ko doon. If ever get sa attendance ninyo, have you checked your attendance already? Naka-screenshot? You may do so now. Or, kung mabudlay gid para kaninyo mag-screenshot, guys, may another suggestion gali, no? Nga example na kada kundi ko dya. You can also in our video nga that I'm going to ko dya, guys, ang video nga dyan i-upload ko sa YouTube, kag i-post ko dyan sa GC naton. So if you forgot to take your attendance there right now, or please remind your classmates if ever they don't want to have a screenshot, you can comment sa video gali. You can comment sa video naton or sa YouTube mismo. Pwede ka mo to kabutang kabutang ka attendance or pwede niyo bubutang to, sir, present ako sa Sir, present ako sa activity nga dahil doon mo double. Kung nalipat ka mo screenshot mo lang da guys, reminder lang. Another way man na ma-confirm ka attendance ninyo. Although attendance is not a big gali sa criteria naton sa yung padala ka na halin sa main campus. Attendance is not a big part of your grade. Be reminded lang, no? Although attendance is not a big part of your grade sa naton, pero I will give points sa nag-attend. So may purpose na. So if ever you will have a low score sa mga exams nyo, I think that your attendance can suffice the grade that you will kay kung manaba ang exam. So dyan ako mabase ka additional points. So although it's not important sa pandemic naton sa dang naton siguro yung design nanda nga mangin man sa students, no? Ang DepEd gani way gyud na nangolekta gani for 2 weeks so karon. So that means nga ga-considerate mo sanda sa sa gani attendance ka estudyante nanda. So aton will be considerate also. However, like for example, if you have a low score sa activity, amo malang guys ang big na portion ka grade ninyo. Activity kag major exam which is midterm kag final. So kung manaba ang scores nyo, di na ako mabase ka nyo, kundi sa attendance. Kung attend mo additional points daya. So how can I confirm your attendance? Number 1, atong screenshot atong diyan nag-attend ka mo tulad. Kadua ang screenshot ninyo. Ikatatlo kung hindi pa gyud ang comment ninyo sa YouTube channel naton. Sa sa topic nga in-post. You can also put a comment there, sir, nag-attend ako na mo da. Or sir, present ako. Or present ako, sir. Something like that. Nga makita ko lang. If ever I can see that, that means you attended or naglantaw ka. Like for example, kung ay ka dito lad, tapos nag-comment ka to, it means na nag-attend ka. Na-notice ko, abi nga, nga duro-duro ganda lagi na post ninyo ng screenshot. Isa lang ka below will do. One screenshot will do. So it's not nga parakan yung ganda ko pa at one lang. Isa lang ganda below.
Present ko, sir.
Hindi diya. Tuya sa YouTube. I-text, isulat ninyo. Isulat ninyo. Pwede naman ando kabilog kalibutan nga present ka. Pwede nag-comment ka di mo.
Screenshot, sir.
Screenshot, guys. It's okay. One screenshot will do already. Isa lang. You don't need
Magpadayo,
to...
dumating mo, Makoy.
Abi, good evening. Okay, Don. Signal. Okay, guys. So, do you have any questions pa? Oo, good evening, Be. Good evening, Be, kaninyo. Regards lang din kay mama mo dyan. Gayapon sana.
Pa-shoutout lang yan sa kanakon, sir.
Abi, shoutout kanimo na. Yes.
Thank you, good sir.
Welcome. Sino pa dyan mo pa shoutout?
May ano gabi? May ano gabi?
Base may okasyon to ya.
Why, sir, nag-prigos?
Ay,
Why
sorry,
magandang imbitar?
Ay, sus. Sige, hindi lang pag yung video mo. Pag-open.
Open video, be.
Oo.
Be, attendance mo dyan. Doro na yung video, anay.
Ang kahalo mo, kalbo.
Okay, sige. What else do we need to consider or anything the guys that you want to tell us sa mga classmates nyo? Daway duman, no? Daway duman kita gida. So medyo hapos malanggid yan ang natin tulad nga gabi. Daw chill lang gida. So this is the most chilled nga session nga na anuhan ko. Okay, I think everybody can relate to this. Update na lang guys. What about sa iba niyong subjects or not sa computer subjects ninyo, may mga assignments man kamo?
Yes, sir. Kapag kami kapasa.
Ha? May online class pa man kamo sa iba ninyo subjects?
May ara, sir.
Oo, sir.
I-schedule lang ninyo at mayad kung na ano ninyo yun ng ano. Nakaobra pa man kamo kay iba ninyong obrahon?
Cobra pa man, sir.
Sige, kabay pa nga mga ano ninyo, mga cope up lang ninyo ha. So if you have any problem, you don't hesitate to tell me. Pero hindi lang money matters, guys. Why? Ano? I have not yet loaded my cell phone. Oo. Ha?
Ako na, delay ito yung ako ligad. Sir, dura-dura signal sa uma.
Wait problema to. Okay lang man. We will have what's this yan eh? An open folder before the midterm so that you can isave nyo lang yung brand dyan. You can upload it sa before midterm.
Sa ako nga. Adlaw mo.
Gani.
Okay,
Oo.
nakapasa ka, sir, no?
Oo, guys. As I've said, will not be strict sa attendance kag sa activity. So that everybody has the chance to pass. Pero ang nakapasa ta na expectedly, you will be graded accordingly. The only thing is for your past 2 chapters, so may utang pa ko kanin yung for activity nga wala ko machekan. Pero I will find time, medyo mas ako pagawa. I will find time to check your work. I'm sorry. Pick up. I will just students, I will find time to check your work and may man guys, may time frame, may schedule, may oras madang ang papasa ka mo. So okay lang. So expectedly hindi man daw ma-affect gid ang grade ninyo kung late ka mo magpasa. Pero as much as possible, so that I can check it right away. Anyway, di ba, return man yung grade ninyo lagi, no? Kung masiktan. So naka-record daw automatically sa Google Classroom. Yung manami pa is that pwede kung ma-record as class record ang sa Google Classroom ninyo. So that I can check kung sino gapasa, kung sino wa gapasa. Kag natawaan sa naka-module kag ang ibang pagid nga kinahanglan ng obrahon. So I hope I can reach to many audience about this. I'm talking about your classmates. I'm not sure kung pira ka mo kabilo, guys, sa A kag B. So, all in all, siguro may 40 plus, no? Or more than 40 plus.
Yes, sir. Why?
So, why, no? O, do 30 plus something.
Sa amon, sir, naman na kami. Daw, why labot 20 sa kanimo?
Oo,
Yung iba,
sige. Okay. Sige lang. Okay lang da. That is why I'm just very happy because at least more than half of you are attending online, no? So if not, I think makalantaw mo sa naka-YouTube kag So win-win situation. We'll find a way in how to disseminate information to everyone, to everybody, so that hindi man sila mori or hindi last time I have not posted up on time just because na learn ko doon yung lesson ko, no? Hindi pabayaan ko, nagsarig ako nga diyan lang sa Google Meet makita edang save file nga ka session naton. However, I found out nga kung pabuhayan ko gali hindi ma-download yung video pag ma-upload sa YouTube. Ang matapo gali is gina-islan ka Google Meet ang file name. So hindi ko makita. Iyawan ko guys kapangita last time hindi updated ang posting ko sa group GC nato. Last pa kung isa malipatan ko man due to Orubrahon. Kaya kung maka-immerse ako sa Orubrahon, nalipatan ko doon iban kung Orubrahon man. So kinahanglan ko pa checklist, ginalista ko gani ang pasunod ka Orubrahon ko for the week para lang That is why tulad why ko pa ka ma-checkan niya or ano ko gid. Although sa weekend dapat ko dai mo on, pero pag abot di sa balay daw ay doon ako itsimpo magpang-check. Maintindihan yung mandaguro no kung makapungko ka mo sa balay no hindi do ka mo ka ano ka ibang obrahon. But anyway, it's not the reason nga ano gid It's not the ano. So I will just continue working and I hope that everyone will be informed. And ano, guys, you may wonder sometimes nga hindi niyo ko matawagan or ano, it's because na dali ga-drain ang amo sa ko problema. Dali ma-drain ang battery ka cellphone ko. So kung may ano man, every now and then ga-charge ko ka phone. Ang bukod na touchscreen wala daw. Amo di ginagamit ko man pantawagan ninyo. Problema dali siya galubat. So wala, kasi ano man yung kung matimingan yung mapatay bila yung phone ko, it means low bat siya. So, muda. But anyway, the same number man gyapon na. I will contact some of your classmates this week so that I can disseminate or I can ask them additional information about the modules. No? Pero as I've said, ginauna ko na yung second year kaya medyo duro sanda. Kag unlike kaninyo na medyo techy tinyo guys, some of them are not that very ano. Pero it's not the reason that it's got to be something with how are we going to meet or probably how are they going to make their activities. So moda. With you guys, why man it kamusta gali pagbalik ninyo sa eskwelahan last time? How's the experience?
Nagduya kami to, sir.
So?
Pabuol kami ni sir kata module to. Why will it bilin? Ubos doon?
Amo da gani. Intindihan nyo lang guys. Kay manan nyo, may problema sa sa procurement. Hello?
Pwede ka kasi sa ibang yung nakabuol.
Ay, magasto kamo. Magastuhan kamo guys. Magastuhan kamo. It's either ang sa GC na to, sa Google Classroom, or tawan gid kamo ka-printed na copy. Amo lang gid hindi kamo mag-photocopy, mahal sat magasto tinyo.
Gani sir.
Hindi kamo. Oo.
Load na mo kag ano?
Gani kinahanglan man naton mag-meet amada kay hindi pareho ka deped nga why gid sandan nga klase.
Amo na sir masauken sir.
Karaw ay abi guys, hindi ako ka batas ng pabayan ka mo lang. Dayo, bukod datot klase karon niya ano ba na Ya ano lang be, kung gusto niya ang sa module lang gid, nang hulatan niyo lang maka-print liwat kagamo to ya. Gakakulang kita ka ba? Abi nyo guys, nagpa-city kami karang Martes last week. Wibis last week. Why ko mabakal ko dad ka printer. Kag ban paper. Iyawan kami pangita ban paper kag printer mo. Printer why gid kami kabakal. Ban paper na kabakal kami. Kay why printer, why paper. Oo, tuod pati laptop, why man it laptop. Galain ko. White printer, white laptop, white sa school why man kamit ban paper, gamay do lang gid ban paper. Amo dagi na pag na bidding. That is why nga gapangayo gid ko ka pag-intindi ninyo. Kag kun pwede man lang maka online kita na sa Google Classroom, tuya lang anay gid. Ay gakakulang gid tanaya ban paper. Kun iban yung bala nga classmate nga hindi kita na bala ka so sanda lang ana ya unahon gid tiyan mo da guys nga hindi man lang kita kaday naga-experience ka problema nga daya bilog man siguro nga tutuod na guys wag ikot baklan ka printer why man akot baklan ka ink sipot kita na bala why gid tanabla ginsarama namon ni downtown kagya drag ko ang mga department store why gid ko may nakita Yung mga laptop nanda, bilhin ng mga mahal, ha?
May printer ko to sir, basi gusto mo baklon.
Nang hindi lang anay.
Garing hindi ti sir kung tumuo. Cartridge type.
Hindi lang anay.
Yeah, printer ko to, cartridge type, hindi ti continuous. Plus raw.
Mabudlay dato
May
baklang
scanner,
ka
sir.
cartridge. Mabudlay magbakal ka cartridge. So, hindi lang.
Ganay
Kaya
sir.
yun, oo. Kagya ginalantaw ko abi, lifespan ka gamit. Kung
ay kuan mo. Nami dagat to yung quality na mag-print sir, garing nga cartridge na amula daya maiwat eh.
makog da. Dayon din ako mabuol ka cartridge ko maubos ang isa ko pamangkot dayon.
Ang ginimo ko to sir, gini baklan ko ka ink nga HP man. Tapos gini inject lang.
O, pero dali ta maguba garing to ano na, i-print head. Amo na
Nami dali i-convert sa continuous dad sir.
ipa-convert
Kaya namin ito glass raw.
Baklan mo da kadang kit.
Wireless.
May kit da ka conversion ka continuous. Pero ano kung ikaw yung maobra, white bayad kung ipaano mo 1 2 isukot ng dabla ka mo.
Kanugo nabi ka to sa wireless dato mo bisan ni white pwede ti mo ka print sa cellphone o sa laptop nga white cord.
Oo. Ipaano mo sa wifi, pa-connect mo sa wifi mo.
Oo, wifi direct.
Nami da.
Nanugon ko sa iwan mo nagamit. Kung ma-convert dato sa continuous.
Oo.
I-convert ko dato nanugon mo daw.
Good evening na kay George. George. Good evening, George.
Shout out to mo, George.
Kapanikleng.
This is George. George.
Ano ka, George?
George.
Dali lang may story ako na George. Dali lang git. Oo, George. Okay lang. Diyan may pamangkot lang ko, guys. Dali
Shout
lang.
out to mo, George. Hello.
Concern good si Bibi kay George. Dali lang. George.
Labay ako, may mga
George.
shit lang da.
Oh, George, dang i-request mo bilang adang sa module do ka budlay gid abi sino yung maadto diha. Amo da isa ko ka pamangkot. Tagdayon kun ma-access mo lang da George sa Google Classroom. Tuya ka lang anay dang buol ka module. Pero pwede mo muna ipasa before ka midterm lang tingbon.
Sige sir.
Oo, George, ay manan mo, isa ko ka pamangkot, kung sino'y suguon mo madto this is class, dyan timo sa
George,
syudad.
no parke nga.
Ano magdagani sir?
Dali labi. Dali labi kami anay ni George. Tiyan mo ganit da George, concern ko, tiyan mo kung pwede daan mo lang da arrangement natin, okay lang mo.
Sige sir, kasabi ko kay sir. Ang ko sir, hindi ka access ang phone ko kay wala bimait sir, SWPS ang ako nga cellphone, kinahanglan computer gid.
Naka-PDF man da George, hindi kinahanglan WPS. PDF man na file. Sir. Oo. PDF lang gid. Oo, George, sige, ipasa lang before midterm, amo lang da. Ay, mabudlay kung si mabudlay gid abi George, diyan timo sa syudad abi. Sige, okay na.
Sige, salamat sir.
Okay, welcome George. Sige.
Hello ka, George.
Bye ko kamo kay George.
Pamunit to
George, hello ka gid ah. Basi may pet kaya taxi na pakita wait ka namon.
Tama dobe. Si George call center. Sa call center ata si George obra to dad. Oo.
O gani sir. Amo gid man sir basta mga estudyante mabakas na sir.
Tiyo, mangita man ta kinawala na to nitiga man pandemic na daan. Halong lang kamo gid.
Bisan pang load na sir maiwat gid.
Oo, the reminder lang positive la guys nagasaka doon yung cases ka So get wear your mask at all times. Social distancing kag ang panginaw gid ano lang gid, medyo mahal dudo ka rin pamiliti. Kung makamotor lang kamo pa eskwelahan, halong lang gid kamo, yung helmet isok-sok nyo. Hindi naman kamo guro kada magmask sugod ka helmet mask lang kamo kunyan kamo doon sa gwa nga na why do helmet ninyo eh. So amo da halong lang kag kabay pa mag
Kapin pa mag-back to
December,
normal.
January, why itong gawa. Hunay dla do ko kanimo be, wait ang kitbanay do be. So oo.
Parte na sir.
May diya ka man sa base, sir, no?
Ay kita sa party guro kada siya.
Sir?
Why ganit natay?
Sano ay City Week to, sir, man?
Amo pag isa hindi ko masabat nga pamangkot. Base may City Week man, base online lang guro activity, why ko kumaan.
Ma-search na ko lang, sir, pay.
Parte na sir, online man.
If ma-search ka do, pwede man online na search eh. Diyan ka lang gown sa balay nyo, tapos pakita mo kanamon.
Yung Christmas party ta online do sir.
Online lang eh, i-ready nyo lang kung ano na eh, online. Masig do lang daha. Kagi preparar ka Oo. Why pa da guys, sa totoo nang why pa ko kumaan, pagid ko idea kung paano da matabo or So lang anuan nyo lang, dan updated lang kita tanan kung ano yung activity nga Si Bibi gusto na gawin
Okay,
search.
sir.
Ipag-down lang si Bibi dyan sa balay. Dahil kag-videohan na lang yourself na.
Excited na atos bibi sir, ma-search mo.
Sige lang ma-search si Bibi sa tunod. Tunod tuig. Dikit kuro matabo.
Pares lagi may kita sir ma-search.
Ay so, nami pagdaan to. Garing ilam ka dyan kung ano matabo. Why do kita damdahom kung ano pa ang mabudlay gidabi. Okay, sige guys. See you na lang sa Thursday sa another subject naton. Okay, it's almost time already.
Sige sir.
Good
next
night.
meeting sir?
Sa isa na tong subject sa Thursday, the same time man. Kung yung module ninyo, I will post the module sa tomorrow ang sa isa nyo ka subject. Kayo why man data na deadline ang isa naton.
Okay sir.
Good evening lang Gid. Bye-bye Gid. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for attending for the next one. Mao, good evening
Okay,
Mao.
sir. Bye-bye, sir.
Okay.
Sir, pa-shout out
Bye-bye to. Sir. Be, hello, shout out Be. Kay
Kanamon tanan, sir.
kay Mike. Ati, katanan, shout out kamo tanan ina. Mabudlay, shout out. Isa dapat. Gani.
Isa-isaon, sir.
Toto Kier na good shout out kanimo dad.
Shout out dito po sir na.
Shout. Sir, ano
Sige,
sir?
Shout out sa mga gwapa
Shout
dyan.
out, gwapo.
Ate, tanan nga gwapo ka gwapa. Shout out kanina tanan.
Kaya may duty sa
mga gwapa ka gwapa.
Pwede do kami ka-left eh.
Ha?
Ako lay gwapo ka nanda. Sir?
Sino yan?
Ako
Una
na
gwapo.
pinakagwapo. Hindi ta magbaton nga kananda tanana dapat shout out kay Bibi nga gwapo lang.
Okay, be.
Shout out kay Bibi nga gwapo eh.
Yo gid sir.
Baby.
Bibi ano na ino mo tulad nga gabi Bibi?
Shout out kay bibi nga pato.
Shout out to di gani.
Shout out kay Bibi nga gwapo. Ha?
Thank you gid sir. Yo ko na mawi sir mo black out ko dito karon no.
Sige lang. Sige. Thank you guys. Thank you for halong
Bye,
gabi.
sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you
Good night, sir.
guys. Good night kaninyo.
Miss you,
Good
sir.
night.
Sir,
Good
good night.
Bye.
Okay, Be.
Okay, sir.
Miss you too, Be. Okay.
Bye, sir.
Bye. See you.
See you, sir.
Goodbye,
Good night, sir.
Tom.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh,
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you, guys. Good night kaninyo tanan.